to the Pauly Price Podcast. Non-stop. Here's your host, the jack of all trades, Pauly Price.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? Thank you for watching the Pauly Price Podcast. Today, we're going to be doing Star Wars, baby. Yes. All right, so... Yes, I made that. All right, so I'm going to introduce my co-host for the show and for the day. We're going to be talking about Star Wars, and it's Tornado Chicken. How's it going, Tornado Chicken?
Hey, I'm doing good. Glad to be on the show.
Awesome.
We're going to be talking Star Wars. What are we going to be starting off with?
Oh, man, I can't wait. This is going to be an awesome show. All right, so I think that what we should start off with is, breaking into all the films in itself. So, I'll start from the top, from first to last. So we have Episode 4, A New Hope. So you a fan of that, or you're not a fan?
I was a fan. of that movie.
Okay, cool. Me too. One of my top favorites. Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Fan or not?
Yes, I am.
All right, cool. Me too as well. Episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
Yes, I was a fan of that one too.
Of course, man. Those are the classics. Those are the best. All right, so let's get into the more complex versions of Star Wars, and we'll go to which was the next one, which was Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Fan or not?
No.
All right, for me on this one, I'm half a fan on this one, like half and half, because
Same there.
Because I did like Anakin Skywalker's character. He was very humble. He was very nice. He didn't seem like he was whiny and bitchy.
Yeah. Because
he was a slave, so like he didn't have anything, so to him anything was good, And I really feel like that's why I like that movie. I just, for me it's the CGI. It was just overkill in all the movies, but for that one is definitely half and half. All right, we're going to go into Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Fan or not?
Half fan.
Okay, yeah, for me that one I'm going to say the exact same thing, because the same thing, because of the CGI. It was like just overkill. I felt like they used it in every scene. If you watch it back, a lot of the scenes, the room is completely fake. The only thing that's real is like the furniture. And for me, I don't know. I just felt like we could have done better. Kind of like what J.J. Abrams did with the new ones, where he brought back that old Jim Henson feel with the creatures and everything. So that's kind of why those movies the only reason why I half like them for Attack of the Clones is we get the debut of Jango Fett. We kind of get a little bit into him, which was cool. That's the only reason why I really was intrigued with the storyline. Was great, but the CGI is what really wasn't a fan of.
Totally agree with you.
It was like a not good. But moving on, we're gonna move over to Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Fan or not?
Yes, I am a fan of that movie.
Jedi scum. You Jedi scum bastard. That one I hate. That one I hate the most. I hate it the most because of the CGI is like so overdone in that movie. And I don't know. I just feel like it's overkill. The only thing I did like was the ending when he turns into Vader. That whole process.
Yeah.
Like I like that. Yeah. What about you?
My favorite part was the Anakin Skywalker versus Obi-Wan fight, because it's very emotional and it was just amazing.
Yeah.
And they dubbed that well.
That whole ending part, the part where he fights Obi-Wan.
Yeah, totally.
Like that whole scene was like the whole movie.
It made the movie. That's why I love that movie.
It was worth the wait, but it was I don't know. I just felt like at that point I was just disappointed because I knew what I was going to get. I mean, they were all directed by Lucas, so he's not really a great director. Great creator though. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining the stream. Get up in the chat if you want to talk about Star Wars. What was your favorite movie? We just started. We're talking about pretty much all the movies. We just went into the originals. Now we went into the prequels. And then we're going to go into The Force Awakens. Fan or not?
Yes, I am a fan.
Yeah, me too. That movie really brought back the old essence of the original Star Wars series.
Yes, it
I
did.
really love that one. Okay, Rogue One. Fan or not?
Yes,
Not
I
a
am
fan.
totally a fan of
I'm
Rogue
not
One.
a fan of that movie. I just didn't like it. I understood what it was there for. I understood a purpose. I don't know. It just felt like everything was dry, and I guess like you kind of like love the characters, but you know they're gonna die in a way, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that's what like really killed it for me. But I just wasn't a fan of that. Like I watch that once in a while, where I watch the other ones like religiously. So
But Vader hallway scene made that.
yeah,
made Star
yeah, that was the
Wars.
only thing that I got excited about. Again, but that's Vader, so it's like to me,
Exactly.
you know, you needed Vader to sell that movie. So that's really the only reason why that was successful.
Yeah, I could see that.
And many Bothans died to get the information too. We know that. So, but all right.
Is that
moving on.
Millennium Falcon CGI or is that like I can't tell?
I have no idea. I honestly don't.
Behind you?
Oh, this thing? Oh no, this is actually a drone. It actually flies.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. But I have it
thing
on.
is
I have it
awesome.
on a string, so you can't see it. It actually looks like it's
Yeah.
completely flying.
I thought it was like a GIF for you animated in there or something.
It was a gift though, but it actually lights up, but it died. I haven't charged it in like 2 years.
Yeah.
I just found the remote. I was gonna try to do it for the show and fly it, but I'm like, I just felt like it was just too much to do. But,
Yeah. That'd totally be fun to do.
It's
one day.
definitely a nice decor. So I figured, you know, I could just fly and eat the logo right here.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
so
awesome.
so we went to Rogue One. So we got The Last Jedi. Fan or not?
No, not a big fan of that movie. That's for sure.
Okay.
Did not like it.
I can understand. I'm a fan of it. I understand why. You know, because I know your reason. But if you want to explain why you're not a fan, we can get into that a little later. We're just running down all the movies, and then we'll get into like what we really liked about the movie and why we liked it. And the Rise of Skywalker. Fan or not?
Ooh, that's a tough one because you know no, I was not a big fan of that.
Okay, so you don't like any of the new movies that they came out with, basically. Basically, when Disney
Yeah.
bought the Star Wars franchise, you don't like it. Besides
No,
the Force
no.
Awakens.
Yeah, I mean, The Force Awakens is different because that had everything that made Star Wars Star Wars. Like it had like classic moments like Han Solo, like revisiting the Millennium Falcon, and that was like a great scene.
Yeah.
But besides that, like it was like The Force Awakens was good, but it was like, you know, it just had something about it that wasn't that good. But of course, Force Awakens is good. Last Jedi is just like a whole, you know. But I do not like The Rise of Skywalker. It did not do good. But because you had Avengers Endgame coming out that year, I believe,
Yeah.
and it just was not a good. Because do you remember the end scene where all the ships came at like the last second or whatever? That was totally exactly like when Captain America was saved by Black Panther and everyone else. So you know it was in.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying because you know Disney has their writers and it's almost the same creativity that's going together. So it's kind of
Totally.
predictable, you know.
You
Yeah.
don't know the
But
power
you know,
of
they
the dark
didn't
side.
also did a pretty horrible job of all the lightsaber scenes in those movies. But the Force Awakens, they did a decent job. But all the other movies were just like horrible. All the lightsaber battles, like Rey versus Kylo Ren, was just like horrible. I hated that scene. Like, sure, you have Kylo Ren walking like badass from that one scene with all the water around him. But
Yeah.
besides that, like, you had Rey like stumbling every like strike that Kylo made. It was just so horrible. I hated that. Because then you had Anakin and Obi-Wan fight, and they were doing it with ease. And I just don't like that. Not a big fan.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It definitely was unique what they decided to do. I mean, I definitely wasn't seeing that coming, but yeah, I get why a lot of people were upset about that. You know, with the whole situation, especially was going on with Rey and Kylo. You know, Ben at that point. But I guess you know what it is. Like, love is always imported in these type of stories. You know.
Yeah.
And I guess that it's just, you know, certain things like for, like you said, the ending, you know, where everybody comes in. But that kind of always happens in those movies, especially like I just watched all the Star Wars again, pretty much to just like refresh my brain with everything. And all the scenes is like, you know, a bunch of people showing up at the last minute helping out, like Poe or something, you know, like they did that in the other one. So it's kind of like that same thing where like I watched on episode 1 when Anakin Skywalker, the young Anakin Skywalker gets into one of the planes and he's flying it and he accidentally like takes off and stuff and he's like, all right, well, we're out here, you know, and he's like, he wants to go inside of the base and blowing up the other people's base, and all the resistant fighters were like, wow, it's blowing up, like we didn't even do anything, and all of a sudden like Anakin's coming outside and they're like, oh my god, we had a guy on the inside, and it's like, you know, a freaking kid just did it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's that kind of writing has always been there. It's just I could see what you're saying though, where they kind of tap into like other franchises like Marvel.
Yeah, totally. And also what I did not like about it is they only started introducing Finn as a Force user in the last movie. Do you remember the part when Finn kept saying like, oh, I just have a feeling that, because they kept transferring like the main ship or something, I recall.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of a sudden Finn just knows it's on that ship. Like, it's just like, come on.
I honestly think Finn has the Force, you know, he's gonna.
Yeah, I totally think
that's why he was able to overcome the brainwash from the First Order that they were doing when they would take you as a kid, you know, because they didn't have the clones. All those clones were dead, so they would take kids from families and they would just train them young to be stormtroopers. But he was so strong that he was able to break that brainwashing and use his own free will and be like, on his first mission, he's like, I'm not killing.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
You even see Kylo walks by and he's like, he looks over and he's like, oh, wait a minute. And he just kind of looks at him like something's wrong. And then when they tell him later, one of the guys bounced, he's like FN7, whatever the number was. And he knew right away because he sensed it. So anybody with the Force, he sensed someone with the Force. But it was so minor and so, you know, microscopic. You know, he didn't even, you know, even think to look deeper, you know?
Mm-hmm. Totally understand that. Yeah. That's good insight.
I watched it again over and over. I was like, oh, because someone was telling me, oh, I don't get it, Rey. You know, she's like a Peggy Sue. She can do everything. Well, if you look back, you know, she's a scavenger. She from a kid, she was a scavenger. She never had parents, so she grew up on the streets, basically. You know, taking parts out of things, knowing what they were, how much their value was, and it, you know, like those are the things that you don't get. You know, Luke had like people looking after him, you know, he had it a little easier. So he was good-willed and he had that, because Rey was kind of like, hey, who are you? You know, because she was, you know, a vigilante because she was always around, you know, you had to kind of, you know, be ready for anything in that time. So I get why she's so good at everything. And even if you watch it when she's flying the Millennium Falcon, you know, she's doing it, but she's not doing it like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Perfectly.
Yeah, and she's like, oh my God, I hope I can do this. And she's doubting herself. So to me, it's like, it wasn't like she was like Anakin, where if you watch Anakin from episode 2 to episode 3, he's like, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this.
Very cocky,
all right, cool. Skeletor 69. What's your favorite Star Wars character, Darth Vader or Baby Yoda? I was gonna get into that later, because I actually have some little trivia on it. Are you down for some trivia, Skeletor? I love that name, by the way. He-Man.
Oh, is that my pops? No.
So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, you want to go and give your favorite character?
Yeah.
We can get into it now. I mean, there's no rules.
Yeah, no rules. We don't need rules.
So, yeah. So, my favorite character, yes, has to be Darth Vader. Love him because I'm a fan of Anakin Skywalker. So it's kind of like both, you know? I like Anakin, but I like Darth Vader better.
Yeah.
So what about you?
My favorite character is Darth Vader because, I mean, come on. How can you not love him? He's got all the best scenes. He makes every scene. And I'm also a fan of Anakin, like you said. So yeah, it's like a 2-in-1.
It is. It is a 2-in-1 because, you know, he's stronger it's weird. He's really stronger when he's on the dark side, but like his strength on the Jedi side was like phenomenal.
Yeah, because what was I gonna say?
You don't know
No,
the power of the
I forgot what I
dark
was gonna say.
side.
But all right, so let's
His favorite is Baby Yoda.
Oh, Baby Yoda. All right, so there you go. Actually, that's not his real name, right?
Grogu.
Grogu is his real name. That is correct. Very good. The crowd roars for you, baby. All right, so I'm going to start up the quiz because this is the first Star Wars quiz, and it's called Use the Force. So you're going to use the Force in this one. There's the instructions popping up there. It's going to be on a little delay, which is not a problem. I'll give extra time.
I see it.
All right, cool.
The player with the highest amount.
All right, we're going to start the game. Ooh, good one. Is it going
to pop up?
Yes. Question 1. Which Star Wars movie was filmed entirely in the studio? Was it The Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, or Star Wars? Which is like New Hope. Drum roll. All right. Wait to get permission. Correct answer is Revenge of the Sith. Completely indoors. That's why I fucking hate that movie. It's like ridiculous. All right, we're going to do next question. Here we go. Which of these 3 main heroes, Luke, Leia, or Han, is in the first Star Wars trilogy refused to sign a 3-picture deal? So which one of those refused to sign? Was it Carrie Fisher? Was it Mark? Was it Ford? Or did they all sign? Trick question, maybe. And if you can't answer on the board, just send it in the stream chat. No problem. I wait for the delay. And yes, it was Harrison Ford. I knew this one already.
Yeah, I knew that one too.
Yeah, because he was doing Indiana Jones.
Not only that, he didn't want to be an actor in the first place. That's what I recall. So I thought that would be him.
He didn't want to do this franchise because they were already talking about doing Indiana Jones, and he had that kind of set up after New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He tied into that one though.
Skeletor 69 says Carrie Fisher.
Yeah,
Carrie Fisher.
I'll wait for it. You know. This is an easy one. What color is Mace Windu's lightsaber?
Red. No, I'm kidding.
Is it blue? Is it green? Is it red? Is it purple?
I like how you keep spinning the thing. The Force is not strong with me, Skeletor says. He said purple.
He's going with purple. And that is correct. Purple is the correct answer. That was a pretty easy question, though, but it was still tricky, gets confusing.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to the next question. This one's a little tricky. In the Star Wars Holiday Special marked the first appearance of which Star Wars character? Was it Lando Calrissian? Boba Fett? Jar Jar Binks? Or Jabba the Hutt?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Do you like the first one?
Skeletor's favorite color? Yes, purple. So that's why I figured you would get that one too. Skeletor loves his purple. Yeah, this one is tough. I unfortunately I did watch this special, and I advised against it because it's so horrible. But being a Star Wars fan, I was like, let me watch it, and I was like, yeah, I'll never see that.
I didn't even know you can watch it anymore.
I had access to it. The answer was Boba Fett.
Oh.
Yeah, Boba Fett. Jabba the Hutt was up there. I think that was Skeletor. Oh, he said Boba, so that's somebody else that picked it. Okay, moving on. Good job, Skeletor. All right. All right, this one's a weird question. Which actor pulled out of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, when he discovered that non-union actors were used in the film? Was it Gary Coleman, George Clooney, Mel Gibson, or Gary Olman? That's a good question. If you're a real Star Wars fan, man, you should know that one. I took a guess on this one.
If I don't know it, I'm gonna wait till the last second to pick it, so I get like barely any points taken off.
There we go. It's Gary Olman. Gary Olman was the correct answer. I did get that right though when I guessed, because I know the actor. So, and I know that I don't think anybody else was going to do that film. That's why I got it right.
Yeah.
This is a very good question. Hey, you have to be a Jedi Master to know that one. This one's really good. Who is the only non-Jedi in the original Star Wars trilogy to use a lightsaber? That is a really good question. Was it Chewbacca, Princess Leia, Han Solo, or R2-D2?
I misclicked. I meant to pick Chewbacca.
Oh, sorry, pal.
I picked Chewbacca. That's my answer.
Yeah, well, it is wrong. Han Solo.
What?
Yes.
When did Chewie use it?
Chewie never used it. The question was what non-Jedi used it, and Han Solo used it to open up the banter when he needed to go inside and sleep, when he saved Luke in the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back on Hoth.
Well, I mean, technically, R2-D2 used it when he gave it to Luke. Do you remember?
He never
that?
used it. He just threw it. He never used it. He opened it and physically using it. That's why it's a good question. It really is. You got to know your shit. I got it wrong, to be honest with you. I was like, wow, I forgot about that one time that he opened it up. Crazy.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because I did pick R2-D2 because I was like, yeah, he threw it. So don't feel bad.
Who served as Jabba's chief?
Yeah, who served as Jabba the Hutt's chief of staff? Was it Alf?
Ooh.
Was it Maz Katana? Was it Bib Fortuna? Or Scarlac? It's a good question for the dark side. I don't know.
Huh. The Sarlacc pit?
Yeah, right?
You would think it'd be Maz Kanata. I mean, I don't know, because I don't know. It's a tough one.
This one I got right away because I knew.
I don't remember anyone else's name. I know Sarlacc and Maz Kanata.
Yeah. No, Bib Fortuna is the guy with the crazy looking head.
Oh,
yeah.
I would have picked that if I knew who he was.
Chaka-maka, Jabba,
yeah.
You know?
And then Boba Fett killed him.
Yes. And now, after the Mandalorian, what's his name, sitting on the throne, Boba Fett. So that's pretty cool.
He's the head
I
of
like
the
that.
underworld.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
You
better get this right, because I actually used this on my first quiz and you got it wrong. Approximately how many languages can C-3PO speak? Is it 6 billion, 6 million, 6,000, 6 trillion? It's a fair question.
I have no idea. I'm not going to remember that from like a year ago.
But you're a Star Wars fan.
Should
Roger.
The correct answer is 6 million.
Oh my God.
All right, that was question 8. So we got 2 more questions, and then we'll get into a little more Star Wars talk. Or if you want to talk about The Mandalorian, it's also...
Yeah.
Only because I have a Mandalorian quiz, which I'm saving for the end of the stream. So if you're a fan, you got to stick around and wait. All right, we're going to go to the final question of the Use the Force one. Skeletor said 69. He said Wolverine. There we go. So, which character
Oh, it's a dog.
did George Lucas considered making a midget or little people? Sorry, that's what it says. Was it Chewbacca, Jar Jar Binks, Luke Skywalker, or Princess Leia? Interesting question. And the answer is Luke Skywalker.
What?
Yes. Now, this is funny. I actually looked it up. I was like, what? This is crazy. So I looked it up. And that's why they reference when she says, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? Because that was part of like the original idea. So they kind of threw that in. I thought that was crazy. I was like, get out of here. Imagine Luke Skywalker as a little person. Like an Ewok just running around with the lightsaber.
Or like
I mean, it would be
Yoda.
like Yoda pretty much. But I mean, Yoda pretty much fits that profile. So it's like, I kind of like Yoda's whole storyline and the way it's more believable, you know, than a little person. Yeah. But that was definitely a weird question.
Yes. So do you know how... Okay, Luke Skywalker visits the planet that Yoda's on. And Yoda has a hut there.
System, yeah.
Yeah. And that hut is the escape pod that he went into. And one of the movies where he goes and leaves and to go to that place.
Yes.
But it grew around, like a bunch of plants and stuff grew around the escape pod. So Yoda lives in an escape pod, and you can see in the movie that there's a bunch of metal parts, and that's the escape pod.
Yes, you are correct, because I actually told you that. So that's crazy.
Oh.
Yes, I know. I enlightened you with that. Yeah, because I found it out, and I was like, wow, that's actually very interesting. And
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It really is. It's so cool how, like, you know, he just landed and that was it. Like, you know, he's just a simple creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like, the films itself, like, there's so many great moments in the original films. Like, I love New Hope. I love the whole idea of like, how everything is, like, coincidental, like, ironic, with the droids, like, falling in their hands, you know, with the Death Star plans and all, and the message from Leia. And it was, like, just the way that all happened was just great storytelling. And that's why it's, like, I love those movies, the original movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, we've been talking about majority of the movies that we loved and why we loved them, but I think now it's time to get into the things that we, thank you for the follow. I think it's time to get into things that we hate.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not much for me. I kind of talked about it a little earlier, but if they're just joining the stream now, I can enlighten them with that. But, I mean, I'm going to let you go first. You can say whatever you want. It's your personal opinion. You'll probably be wrong, but it's okay. No, I'm kidding. But, yeah, do your thing, bro. Take the floor. Tornado Chicken. What do you hate about Star Wars?
All right. So we'll start off with what I hate about, my least favorite movie. What's my least favorite movie? I think my least favorite movie is probably the latest one. What was it? Rise of Skywalker. So, you know, they started off with, how did they start off? I forgot. What was it? How'd they start off the movie?
What, the Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, actually, I haven't seen that one. I didn't watch the newer movies.
Oh, my bad. Well,
I saw them. I mean, it's been a while since that's why I'm like, kind of like,
And I feel like they squeezed everything in, like, really quick. Like, they squeezed a bunch of plot points and plots, like, in the movie. Like, all of a sudden, like, they introduced Palpatine as, like, the new villain. And, like, Palpatine was organizing everything. I just didn't like that because Anakin's sacrifice was for nothing, and everything he did was for nothing. And he was supposed to be the chosen one to bring Palpatine down. And they just, like, spat on that and just brought him back for one movie for, like, 10 minutes. And I just didn't like that. They also had Snoke, like, he's supposed to be the bad guy. Yeah. He was, like, a clone and all that. I just, you know. But, and then, you know, I liked Kylo Ren's revival and all that. Like, he redeemed himself. But besides that, movie was so bad, okay? They had a lot of stuff referencing Marvel, And I just didn't like that too. Like Avengers Endgame was a movie that was like you couldn't match that year. And they just brought that out with the same concept of like a million people or whatever saving them at the last second or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't like that. They really did not do something different for that movie. They just kept it the same, like people get saved the last second moment. And lightsaber battles, as I said earlier, were just so horrible. They didn't organize that at all. Like Rey was stumbling from every like strike. She didn't train for like how much time she had. Like it looked like she was picking up a lightsaber for the first time. And she did a better job in the first movie of kicking Kylo Ren's ass, as you saw.
Yes, but because Kylo Ren was conflicted.
Yeah.
His emotions was too much, is why it was making him weak, you know, because his confidence was his weakness, that he kept doing that, you know.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. But what I don't understand is when Rey picked up that lightsaber in the first movie, we had all that with, like she beat him first time, like not like it was nothing, like slashed his face.
Yes.
And
quick little thing though that I could
her.
maybe help you understand that a little more. Whose lightsaber was that?
Anakin's.
Yes, it was Anakin's lightsaber. Okay, it
Yeah.
wasn't Luke's, because they never mentioned Anakin, and that was that.
Yeah.
That I was gonna get into. That's what I hate about that. Certain parts about that writing is that they like kind of like stayed away from Anakin. Meanwhile, it's like, oh, Anakin was the chosen one. He was the chosen one. What happened? He had kids. His kids were the reason why the Force became, you know, leveled. And that's what, he still was the chosen one. His, you know, it wasn't necessarily him, but it was his gene, you know, because he really came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of like Jesus Christ, if you think about it. It is, because, you know, his mom never had a husband, you know, all of a sudden she's pregnant, and it was like, oh, okay, you know. And this kid is like, midichlorians were like, you know, through the roof, more than Yoda. So it was like, that's why he was so strong. So like, I could get why, you know, if Anakin built that lightsaber, and that was the second one that he was building, because he lost the first one, it broke. You know, that would make sense why it was so powerful, and why it went to her, because she's also Palpatine. She's got the Palpatine gene, which makes sense, because they're both conflicted, you know, with the dark side.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I actually
get,
understand that.
Yeah, it makes a little sense, but I get what you're saying too. Like in the second movie, how she was. I think what they were trying to go with it was she was kind of still unsure with herself, because like Luke Skywalker was like very like I don't really care, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like that whole thing really shook her, because she thought it was going to be like, you know, that perfect moment. And I feel like after The Force Awakens, like she really realized like, oh, wait a minute, you know. And then moving forward, you know, everything that happened in the with The Last Jedi, I think really messed with her head. So why the beginning of the movie really, for me, it was, I get why they brought the Emperor in. It makes sense, because, you know, I was even telling my wife, like, you know, like, look with Darth Maul. He didn't really die, did he?
Yeah.
Right?
He didn't.
So, you know, if someone has the Force, all they have to do is just, like, stop themselves from falling and slow themselves down, you know? So to me, it was like, yeah, you threw him into an inferno, but how do you know he didn't go through a shaft? Just like Luke always falls through a shaft, or someone else that's good falls through a shaft, you know?
Yeah.
And it made sense, because that they made her Palpatine's kid. So it was like, whoa, now it was kind of like, you know, that diocese thing that they were doing. Like, that was the only thing I wasn't crazy about, was the love story that they decided to tell at the last minute. I felt that kind of like that. I wasn't a fan of that, but I guess like they had to throw that in there, because, you know, the same love story with Han and Leia kind of fell throughout, and we didn't know what was going on with Luke until we find out, you know, that they're related, and it was like, oh, and they kissed several times.
Yeah, that was very, you know, like, what?
Yeah,
I felt like that was poor writing on their part, because I don't think they planned for them to be siblings until after that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know the backstory on that, But as far as one of the things that I hate from not from the original films, because honestly, there's nothing I really hate from those films, is like the 1, 2, and 3. Besides the CGI, which is obvious pretty much for everybody that doesn't enjoy CGI overkill, is the like how they made the Jedi Council so like cocky, and they were like, Jedis can't be bad. You know, it's like saying a cop can't be bad. Like, you know what I mean? It's like everybody's bad in their own way. If they work for someone, and then they're bad. You know, and it was like they would call someone a Sith, but it was like, really, that's just another name for a bad Jedi, isn't it?
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, oh, there's no bad Jedi. Where do you think they get? Where do you think they come from? It's like a Sith just grows out of nowhere. So it was like the way it was like he's insulting our intelligence with that. That was the only thing I wasn't a fan of. How like Mace Windu and Yoda was like, oh no, he's too young to get the trials. Meanwhile, like he said the same thing to Luke, but look what happened with Luke. You know. Yeah. Doubting is actually a bad trait. That'll lead to the dark side. That's what he should have been telling them. You know? Like,
well, then again, like they had to move the story along because like how did Anakin become Darth Vader? But
yes,
like
I understand that's why they went there.
Very not good because you had a whole entire Jedi Council that they just like showed up out of nowhere. Like we didn't know that before.
I know.
The fact that they knew that his metachlorian count was through the roof, higher than Yoda's. Of course he can take the trials. Of course he's ready.
They should have been guessing him to death.
Like, he was the first person to be on the council and not a master. Why don't you just make him be a master? What's the big problem?
Like, I know. It was that. It was those little things. And then it was like, oh, well, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi's doubting me. Like, what are you talking about? That motherfucker's getting killed right now. He's like almost getting killed on Geonosis right now. What you're thinking this, right? And it was just like, it was those moments that I was like, oh, I just want to go in the screen and punch this kid. Because it was just like, dude, like you have this Jedi power and you're over here thinking that you're like, I guess that's what they were going to, but I just didn't like how they were doing that with the Jedi Council. And like, I felt like they caused him to go there and they blamed Anakin and they blamed, Palpatine, which listen, Palpatine definitely was pouring the gasoline, let me tell you, and stirring the lies. But that was also Anakin's fault for not knowing the truth, and not seeing past that. Yeah. But other than that, that's the only thing I dislike about it. But I guess like again, that's where they were going. They wanted Anakin to start to turn. I just felt like they could have just, with the whole thing that he did with his mom and he killed all the Sand people and he did that. That was good, perfect right there. That's all he had to do. Because that brought him to a certain point where he was, starting to release the anger, and you're supposed, as a Jedi, you're not supposed to get mad, So it was like he already broke that point, and it was like I don't think they even had to do that because he was selfish enough to do it on his own without having the council tell him he wasn't, Yeah. I just feel like that's how Anakin was. And then once he lost Padme, that was it. He was like, what's the point of living? So that's why it was easy process for Vader because, he had nothing to live for. And he already hated the Jedi Council already, so it was like a plus for the Emperor.
Yeah, and that's all Emperor wants was to him to give in to his hatred. So even if Anakin didn't turn at that moment, he would have made him turn. He could have, killed Obi-Wan in front of him or killed Padme. And then that would have really release the anger.
You don't know the
Vader.
Power of the dark side.
All right, so now that we're talking about the dark side, how about we start that quiz number 2, which is all questions about the dark side. So let's test your dark side knowledge.
Ooh, okay. Let's do it.
All right. Skeletor, you down? You still here? All right. Come to the dark side. We have cookies.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you definitely haven't seen the Family Guy Star Wars, I advise you should go watch it.
Totally watch that.
Yeah, because they fill all the holes in the movie.
Yeah, when Lando was wearing Han Solo's costume.
Yeah.
And
Would you eat another porg if another porg is looking at you? Maybe. Would you eat the pog if another pog is looking at you? I'm doing Skeletor voice. All right, first question.
Which bounty hunter in Later Strikes Back is wearing an old costume from a Doctor Who episode?
This is a good one if you're a Doctor Who fan. I did not know this because I'm not a Doctor Who fan.
I think it was Bosk.
Busk.
I chose IG-88 because I thought it was like, what was it from or something? Because I remember IG-88 had a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it was Bosk.
Yeah. The Lizard Man.
The Lizard Man. Yeah, he's every time I play Battlefront like that, he just keeps killing me with that gas.
Yeah, totally. He is totally one of my favorite bounty hunters, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely a cool character.
And that's crazy that they don't add like more mainstream characters, and they just added Bosk and threw him in there.
What kind of trooper is introduced at the beginning of Rogue One? Is it a death trooper, shadow trooper, scout trooper, or shock trooper? Dun, dun, dun. All right, it is a death trooper. Did you know that one?
Yeah.
Nice. So that's you scoring up right now.
Yeah.
Why don't you say something in the chat so people can see your name? So you can follow Tornado Chicken 69420.
Oh, I'm not logged in.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, I just plugged you.
No,
Right.
I don't need a plug.
Okay, this one I knew and I love. In The Return of the Jedi, Jabba refers to Han, or Han, as his favorite what? What? A knick-knack? A scoundrel? A prisoner? Or a decoration? Nerve herder. Hey, who you crowing scruffy looking? This is stupid lines. Hey, thanks, man. Punky Pow says, great show. Awesome. Appreciate it. All right. So, decoration. I love my decoration. Why would I get rid of it is what Jabba says. When the fake bounty hunter comes in and tries to steal him. All right. This one's a good one, too. The animators who brought the AT-AT Imperial Walkers to life in Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, is based on their movements. Which movements? Is it a camel, a giraffe, elephants, or a stork? Ooh, tricky question.
That is a tricky question. It's a good question.
It is a good question. That's why I have it. Actually, I got these from like different places and just kind of input them in the system. And
what'd you pick when you did it?
I can tell you I was wrong, but I'm gonna blame Family Guy because of that.
Oh,
it is an elephant. Yes, elephants. You know the oh. I'm gonna clip that one right there. Just knocked out my co-host. We're back now. Yeah, I just knocked you on the floor when I was trying to do my impression of an AT-AT, and it was pretty bad.
Polly Price drops the co-host.
Like, for real. But, yeah, because Family Guy, he says, hey, it's not like they have robot camels. And he goes, hey, look, John, robot camels, you know? And that's why I thought a camel. I was like, oh, it's a camel. But it's elephant. All right, question 5. Of whom did Jabba the Hutt say, this bounty hunter is my kind of scum, fearless and inventive? Was it Boba Fett? Was it Han Solo? Was it Dog the Bounty Hunter? Or was it Princess Leia? Now, who was it? And the answer is Princess Leia. Yes, she wears that outfit and what was that, like bootleg bounty hunter. I mean, she's like, yato, yato, with that voice box.
Good thing I was prepared to get that one wrong because I choose Boba Fett.
No, he was there though. He was there. Actually, when she pulled out the thermal detonator, he like pulled his gun out. He was like, "Oh, the hell is this guy doing?" All right. Question number 6 of the dark side is, what is the name of Boba Fett's ship? That's a good question.
Already got that immediately.
Is it Ebon Hawk? Is it Ravager? Is it the Fett? Or is it Slave One?
So glad I got that right. It's the Fett. Very good question, though.
Yeah, right. That would be like the obvious answer. Actually, I put one stupid answer in each one. You never know.
Wait, what are you talking about? No.
The correct answer is Slave One. Yes, I love that ship. I want to get one like this.
Sick.
That fly, yeah, because that one is really cool because of the way it flies, like facing forward.
Oh, like a drone?
Yeah, I just love that whole rig.
My friend had like a huge Lego creation of the Slave One ship, and his mom threw it out.
In Rogue One, what is the Empire removing from the holy city of Jeddah? Is it Jedi text? Is it weed? Is it Kyber crystals? Or is it the Holy Grail? I don't know, man. Desperate times called for desperate measures. It's definitely the Holy Grail. I mean, everybody's trying to trace that. There it is. The Kyber crystals. Kyber, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
That's what's used to make lightsabers.
Yes, exactly. I love this one. How many people does Darth Vader kill in The Empire Strikes Back? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? I'm not giving you the answer. Just saying. Good question, though. He doesn't kill many that we see of.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Go for the guess. Skeletor said weed. Unfortunately, that was not... It should have been the answer, but I guess they needed to make some more lightsabers, so... The correct answer is 2 kills by my man Darth Vader. 2 kills.
Which movie does he blow up the planet?
Who?
Or the Death Star blow up the planet?
Hunky Pow says 3, off by 1.
Oh. We've been at an average of 4 viewers the whole stream.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I got another stream coming up right up here next Saturday. Me and my wife and I will be playing songs from the 90s, from female rock songs. So that's going to be cool. We've been practicing a lot, so that's going to be fun. So definitely check that out. Question 9 of the Dark Side quiz is, what is Count Dooku's Sith name? Ooh. Darth Tyrannus. Darth Brooks. You like that one, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
All right, here's the final question. What are Vader's last words to Luke? May the Force be with you. I'm really not your father. Remember me. You were right. Which one is it? Imagine that he's like, actually, I'm really not your father. I just said that to cut off your hand.
I have no idea.
You don't have an... Oh, my God. You should know that. This is easy.
I haven't watched it in a long... It's probably the May the Force be with you, but I really have no
way.
idea.
You were right. Tell your sister you were right. How could you forget that?
I got that one right. Well, I got it right.
Oh, good. All right, so you got it right.
I thought it was May the Force be with you.
And also with you. All right, so that was pretty good. Oh, all right, 84,000, much better on this one. Tornado.
Yeah, I know my Sith stuff.
Yeah. All right, so but now before we get into, like, if we're going to talk like any Mandalorian or anything like that, let's get into what was our favorite. Let me just get this thing out of the way first. Stupid quiz thing. All right.
This is what Skeletor 69 said.
Maury runs out. Darth Vader, you are not the father of Luke Skywalker. That would be freaking awesome. Oh, that would be amazing. All right, so I guess we'll get into the final segment because we're coming to the end of the show where we're going to be talking about our favorite Star Wars movie of all time, our favorite characters, our favorite villains, and our favorite lightsaber. So we're gonna do all those little things, and then we're going to go into the Mandalorian quiz, and that's going to be the end of the show. So let's get started. I'm gonna let you go and you tell everybody your favorite Star Wars movie. Just one movie out of all the franchises. And Skeletor 2 or Punky Pow, you guys can go ahead and say your movies on the chat, and we'll go ahead and talk about it. So go right. Tornado Chicken.
My favorite Star Wars movie of all time has got to be... It's a very tough question. But, I think I'm going to go with a goodie, The Empire Strikes Back. It just had some great moments in classic Star Wars. And I've got to say, it's not a movie, but I do like The Mandalorian more than, the movies. So if it was my favorite Star Wars product, it would be The Mandalorian. But for movie, Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, that was mine. That's so funny. That movie, yeah. Out of all the movies, Empire Strikes Back, the reason for me, I wrote them down is one, it's the debut of Yoda, right? It's the first time we're getting to see Yoda.
Yeah.
It's also when Vader starts to question himself in certain ways, where think about it, right? When they start to put Han Solo in the carbonite, right, and they're gonna freeze him. I like the way that they took C-3PO and broke him up, because who built C-3PO?
Mm-hmm.
Anakin's, Vader. So it was it almost he, and he heard C-3PO saying, "Oh, what's going on? Oh, Han Solo, he's being carbonated. Oh, he'll be perfectly fine if he survives the freezing process, that is." And Vader heard that, and he could have killed them,
Yeah.
And it was you just started to know that he sensed something, and it was that moment in change where, the bad guy got the upper hand. Skeletor says Empire is his favorite too. It really is. It's a great movie. And the last reason why, besides the C-3PO thing, is it leaves on a cliffhanger. Yes, Luke, it comes back and Leia finds him and he gets his robotic little hand going. But, Han's still missing. They got to go back and do that, and they still didn't defeat the Empire. So it was it left on a cliffhanger where New Hope really... you could have just did anything with that. It ended they blew up the Death Star. So it was they had to do it again. And they didn't get to do that until Return of the Jedi. So that's why it was for me, Empire was my favorite, because it was that continuous, I got to see the next movie because I need to know what happens kind of story.
Uh-huh. Totally.
But, yeah, and Skeletor agrees. He says his is Empire too. It's just a great movie. It really is. All right, so let's move over to favorite character. We talked about it a little earlier, but in case you're just joining the stream or anybody else is just joining late, we'll just go over it again. I think we all agreed too, besides Skeletor with Baby Yoda, that it was Darth Vader. Correct?
Yeah, but I gotta ask you, instead of what's your favorite Star Wars character, what is your favorite Sith, Jedi, or overall character?
What I was gonna say, actually, my favorite villain is Darth Maul, because I love his style.
Yeah, totally.
Quiz time. How many Death Stars were destroyed? Dos. Well, I mean, if you want to count Star Killer Base, then I guess tres.
Yeah.
Actually, it should count as double, because that shit was huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
My father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
But yeah, getting back to Star Wars. So favorite villain for me is definitely Darth Maul. I just love his style. I love the whole essence of him. When he just comes on the screen, I'm glued to my seat, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you?
He's got that. Well, my favorite Sith of all time, it's either Darth Vader or Darth Maul. Totally a tie between them, because you totally see a whole entire different aspect of Maul in the Star Wars shows like Clone Wars and what was the other one? Rebels. So you really see him kick ass in those movies.
Yeah, I do agree. Would I be a Jedi or a Sith? I probably would be a Jedi, because I mean, you know what? I don't know, because it seems like Siths can do whatever they want. Maybe they can have relationships, do all that stuff, smoke weed, listen to rock music. I mean, if that's the case, I might be a Sith. I just might be a low-key Sith, but who knows? Because Jedis are like kind of like priests, man. They can't do nothing. You know, it's hard. You know, to not have feelings and not to, you know, think about things like that. It's a tough question because as far as like honor and stuff, you know, I'd say I'd definitely Jedi. You know, respectful to the people and stuff. What about you, Tornado Chicken?
Well, that's for sure that we wouldn't know if we would be a Jedi or a Sith because it's never happened. Like we never had the choice. Like totally be different circumstances that it would be now. So you can't really choose because the path you go on is the path you stay on. So I don't know.
That's very true. Very noble.
And who is your favorite Jedi of all time, Polly Price?
I'm gonna have to go with. I don't know, man. I'm a huge Anakin fan. I you know, not like necessarily the actor, the character. You know, let me get that straight. But yeah, just the essence of Anakin. I just love the whole style that he has. I mean, Luke is cool, but I don't know. Sometimes Luke is a little pretentious, and I'm like, eh. So, what about you? Who's your favorite Jedi?
My favorite Jedi of all time will probably be Cal Kestis. You don't know who he is, but you don't know who he is. He is a Jedi survivor of the Order 66.
Oh, look at you!
And the game you got to play, he rebuilt his connection with the Force because it was severed because he had no one. He was a Jedi Padawan. So you have to rebuild his connection with the Force throughout the game. So I really like that. So Cal Kestis.
Okay, that's a good one. What about you, Skeletor? I'd be a Sith because I'm Skeletor. Yeah, well, that's actually pretty obvious. Yeah, Skeletor's the man. You don't need to be good.
Yeah, Skeletor.
You gotta love it. Thanks for joining the stream. We're talking Star Wars. We're talking our favorite characters right now. We just got into characters, villains, Jedis. But now I want to get into favorite lightsaber out of everybody. What is your favorite lightsaber out of all the franchises?
I've got to say my favorite lightsaber is Cal Kestis. It's a double lightsaber with a very nice design for the hilt.
I've seen that one before. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And in the game, it's severed, half of it. But technically, it's not Cal Kestis' lightsaber. It's his master's lightsaber. But, it's kind of like the Anakin thing where, it's a very powerful lightsaber. And, yeah, Darth Maul is a species that you can see in Star Wars Rebels, which is a different show. And it's that type. I'll send you a picture later, but that his master died protecting him, and he gave him that lightsaber. And in the game, you repair it, and you can change it to any color you like because, that's just it. And also in the game, Cal Kestis has this unique ability where he can sense things that happen. He's got a very strong connection with the Force. And he has a very rare ability. I forgot what it was called, but he can sense what happened earlier. So if something happened 5 years ago, he would sense that.
Oh wow!
So
nice. All right, cool. So we got
very powerful.
So Skeletor said that he likes purple. So I'm assuming he likes Mace Windu's lightsaber.
Yeah,
and also Punky Power. Says Princess Leia, so that's her favorite Jedi, and Skeletor said Baby Yoda is his favorite Jedi. So just to go back to that, for me, my favorite lightsaber is right here, Kylo Ren's. I just love the whole design. I'm not a fan of it, of the poorly made version of it, but I love that it's got the old medieval sword look. That I love, and then he was burning. Finn on the arm when he was just that whole scene and the fight scene of the sword is so cool. So I'm a big fan of that one. My second one is Darth Maul's, but that's so obvious everybody picks that one too.
Yeah.
The Sentinel one's pretty cool, but I also like what's his name's Count Dooku's is pretty cool. It has like an arch to it.
Yeah, very unique.
Yeah, but definitely Kylo Ren has got my favorite.
What is your favorite hilt?
What is my favorite? What?
Like hilt, like the way it looks.
You mean like the?
Because you're talking about different styles, or like which style, the way it's shaped, right?
Yeah.
Like you have like the double lightsaber, the one like Count Dooku's, but like, what's your favorite looking one? Or no, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I would say Darth Maul's then, but it's definitely red, absolutely red.
Totally.
So I'd be a Sith because red. I just put a red crystal in it. You don't have to be a Sith to put red.
Well, you totally have to be a Sith to have it red because you need to put all your hate into a Jedi crystal.
I have some hate about some, being a Mets fan and stuff. So yeah, that should be pretty easy for me to conjure.
Okay.
Favorite starship? What's your favorite starship? Skeletor 69.
Ooh.
Good question. I like it. Nerd alert.
Probably a TIE fighter.
X-wing for me, baby.
Yeah, totally.
I love me some X-wings.
I rebuilt the X-wing you gave to me for my birthday or Christmas one year. It was totally destroyed, and we remade it. So from scratch, all the parts.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have to say, what was it? The other vehicle I like too. TIE fighters. Love TIE fighters. Especially the way they shoot.
Yeah,
Star
totally.
Destroyers. Come on, those are the best too. Giant triangle.
Oh, yeah.
It's flying through space.
Does a Death Star fall into the category of a ship?
It looks like a moon. That's no moon.
I mean, yeah, sure, it looks like a moon, but it can move in the air.
Oh god.
I guess it's more of a base.
Yeah. Because I like Star Killer Base was like a friggin' planet.
That's crazy.
So let's cut into the Mandalorian franchise. Skeletor is gonna like this because he obviously loves Baby Yoda. So we're gonna talk about the Mandalorian now because that definitely is my favorite Star Wars story that they're telling. Falcon. We'll get into that a little later. I'm actually going to be doing a Marvel show. I wanted to see how successful this was, and then I want to do Marvel because that's a huge universe, and there's a lot to talk about there too. But yes, I don't want to give any spoilers to anybody that didn't see the Falcon, but definitely watch it. It was amazing. Really, I liked it. I've heard people say things, but I don't listen to people because people don't know shit.
Totally.
But all right, so let's go into the Mandalorian. We all love Baby Yoda, or his real name, Grogu. So one of the favorite things that I love about Mandalorian is just the whole essence of like this bounty hunter guy is just like doing his thing. And I do love that it's like 5 years after the Return of the Jedi, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe it is a couple of years after. I don't know what's the exact count is.
So I kind of like that because actually that's what I really loved about the original films was the way it looked. It looked futuristic. Where when you saw 1, 2, and 3, it looked too futuristic because everything was CGI. So it was like I didn't feel like I was getting that realism. And even if you look back and you watch when Anakin goes back to Tatooine to find his mother, that whole scene when they're there looks amazing because they're using the original set and it wasn't CGI'd. And it was like, that's why the newer movies were done better because they didn't do all that CGI. Everything's in a room bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love that they did that with the Mandalorian, how, they just told that story with this guy who looks like Boba Fett. So we're all like, this guy looks like he's bad. And we're actually learning the story of the Mandalorians and actually find out that really, Boba Fett really was never a Mandalorian, Yeah. And his father may have been and then got probably exiled, but he was a clone, really. So it was like, does it count?
And the director of The Mandalorian was a great director. He
Oh, John
directed Iron
Favreau,
Man
come
as
on.
well.
He did the Iron Mans. He did all that stuff. That's why I think that, you know, if you want a good product, you have to have a good director. And I don't, I don't think, did J.J. Abrams do the Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi? I don't think he did.
I think they switched directors.
They switched off,
I think,
because even the original films, like New Hope, was directed by George Lucas. In fact, he didn't even show up for one of the promos for the premiere because he was so nervous. He went on vacation to Hawaii with Steven Spielberg, and that's where they came up with the idea for Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was so funny. But yeah, he thought it was going to bomb. So here you go. The guy who created the freaking movie, didn't even show up to the premiere. And he directed the first film, and they were like, all right, the story's great, but you don't know how to direct. So, Empire Strikes Back was the first new director. That's why that movie was so great. Return of the Jedi was even better. It was a great movie because it finished the story. Different director, but like real directors, And then 1, 2, and 3 were done by Lucas. Is why I'm not a fan, because the lack there of directing when it comes to like using realism in film instead of like CGIing everything, But the Mandalorian story is so unique, and I just love how, you fall in love with this guy just so easily. He's a bounty hunter. He's picking up people, and all of a sudden you have empathy for him when he finds this small creature who's, he thought was 50-year-old man. Meanwhile, it's a 50-year-old creature who lives to be like 5,000.
Yeah.
So he is a baby. And I really did like how they implemented, like how the new order was coming with the First Order. Like they're kind of like all in different packs, like how a gang would, if you kill the leader, they all flock in their own gangs and they kind of do their own thing, And I kind of like how they did that, and they were telling that story within the town. So it really gave me that feel of like New Hope and Return of the Jedi. And that's why I really loved The Mandalorian. Directing was great. Storyline was great too.
Yeah, totally. And they used stuff from other sets from like other movies, like the droid, the bounty hunter droid. They used that, I believe.
Yes, I love
and
that.
They,
IG-80,
totally.
Right?
Yeah,
I thought that was great because I look back at the movies now and I'm like, look, that's the guy that's in The Mandalorian. Like it's just those little moments that I think is great because it makes you want to go back and watch it and go, oh wow, now it's something new I can add to like when I watch the scene. That guy, is eventually going to do that stuff with Mando, So it's really fun to go back and do all that stuff.
Yeah, totally. And the way they opened up the the show was just great, where he walks in like a bar or whatever, and then just like takes the guys like, I can take you in warm, I can take you in cold. That was just a great opening.
No, it definitely was
totally hooked on people to the show.
Everybody was like hooked. I was like, I gotta watch this show. Even the theme song is amazing.
Yeah, totally. I think we can all agree that we all bought Disney Plus for that show.
Yeah, it's definitely safe to say that. I mean, like they've been coming through. I mean, they give you a good product. WandaVision was good. It was short and sweet.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it served its purpose because like what she's able to do. But I wasn't a fan of like how like everything was like changing and stuff, but I guess like that was just her mind and stuff. So like I did like this little sitcom thing because it all made sense. So
totally.
Honestly, I didn't like that it was so short, but I guess they didn't have much material. So
and Falcon and Winter Soldier was even shorter.
Yeah, but they were longer episodes.
Oh yeah,
they were like 40 minutes because it's like two guys instead of just one character. So I think that's what they did. Skeletor says that he loves the Mandalorian because it has Baby Yoda, and I think that's why everybody loves Baby Yoda because, it's a baby, and he's cute, and he's like this little cute
and
little,
the merch,
and the fact
merch was insane.
And the fact that you learn like the healing thing with him because we learned about that in the Rise of Skywalker
right before, yeah.
So it was cool. Like it was just the way they, the canon of just telling the storyline, continuing it was just genius. Because like listen, the Marvel world, they skilled it, they did. I can't say the same thing for DC, But the Marvel world skilled it when it came to the storytelling. Maybe here or there's a couple of things like definitely Spider-Man. There's too many Spider-Mans. But other than that, the newer stuff is great because of the way they connected it all together. And I feel like that when they started to write, The Force Awakens and all that stuff, I thought they did a pretty good job tying everything in.
Yeah, they totally did a good job doing that, though.
Yeah.
But the way they told the news story wasn't exactly my cup of tea, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would say, I could definitely say, like, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker parts can definitely fall into 1, 2, and 3 that I really don't care about. But there's parts, like, I know, like, there's some war scenes that I love, like, especially with the red sand. Like, that scene there, that's awesome. When they were flying, and then, like, when you move the sand's red on the bottom because of the salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, those scenes and things like that, like, I loved. But there were some things that were overkill Disney, like, that was like, I don't know if I like it. All right, well, that concludes the Star Wars show. I want to thank everybody for hanging out. Punky Pal, Skeletor69. I'm going to give you a follow too, Skeletor. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Hopefully, if you watch the video later on, I got a show coming up right here next week. Next Saturday, my wife and I will be doing a live show, singing, guitar, 90s female rock band. So it's going to be cool. Please stop by because it's going to be a fun time just to hang out and jam. So we'd like you to come be there with us. So I want to thank my co-host for today's show, Tornado Chicken. Thank you so much.
Oh, dude, it's an honor. And I got one more thing left for this show. Bop it.
Oh, look at that.
Bop it to start. High score 78. Bop it. Wow. Twist it. Pull it. Pull it.
It's a Star Wars Bop It. That's awesome.
RTD2.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm gonna end it with my Star Wars song just to end the show. But I want to thank everybody for sticking around. And this is Paulie Price signing off, saying, "May the Force be with you."